Your teenage child has been diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, short for FND, and one of the treatment options is hypnosis. Now, what the heck is hypnosis and how does hypnosis work to resolve your child's FND? Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and chronic pain survivor myself. My mission is to help teens and their parents resolve persistent physical symptoms such as chronic pain and FND so then they can get their life back and feel like normal again. Because I truly believe after helping hundreds and hundreds of teens successfully resolving FND, these teens deserve so much better in their lives and they can get their lives back. So in today's video, I want to talk about 4 parts. One is what is hypnosis and what is not, and how does hypnosis help FND, and briefly how to do and what not to do with hypnosis, and what parents can do to help your teens resolve FND by using hypnosis techniques. First of all, very briefly, what is FND? FND is an umbrella term to describe these cross-wired problems between the brain and the body when your child's brain and the body are physiologically looking quote-unquote fine. It is a legit diagnosis and it's very common diagnosis actually getting in neurology clinics, but nobody knows about it. And that is partially because FND is a biopsychosocial phenomenon. It's not just one thing that is causing, it's not just a mental health problem, it's not just in your child's head, it's not just anxiety or stress. Those are one of many pieces that go into FND. So first of all, what is hypnosis to begin with? Hypnosis is essentially an evidence-based treatment approach of one's mind, like your child, through the use of imagery and metaphor, like analogy, to literally change the brain and the body through something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is basically a fancy name for reconnecting your child's brain and the body. And hypnosis is one of the ways to reconnect the connections between the brain and the body for your child. Hypnosis basically involves these positive suggestions based on your teen's experience and preferences. And then the goal is really to increase the self-awareness and confidence for your child, which result in building this resilience. And specifically speaking, when I say hypnosis, I'm talking about medical hypnosis. And so the goal of the medical hypnosis is literally to reduce symptoms and discomfort, and that's it. Related to that, what is not hypnosis is something like stage hypnosis for entertainment purpose only. So when the hypnotist or hypnotherapist are basically saying, quack like a duck and eating this crazy food that you're not supposed to be eating that tastes really awful, but then under the hypnosis that it tastes really good, that kind of thing. Those are all entertainment hypnosis, and that is very different from the medical hypnosis that I'm talking about. Hypnosis also is not a medical gaslighting or mental manipulation. A lot of times when I talk to teens about hypnosis or medical hypnosis or self-hypnosis, because all hypnosis are self-hypnosis, they kind of get this little bit weird sensation that, oh, what is this person going to do to me by using this hypnosis, right? So I always explain what it is and what it's not. The thing with the medical hypnosis is that your child is definitely feeling empowered. So in other words, what is not is a hypnosis is something that your child will not feel powerless, right? So like it's a complete opposite of what the teens are typically thinking about hypnosis. It's kind of like, what are you going to do to me? You know, that kind of thing, right? It's really about them having the control based on their own preference and their experience. There's a little bit of difference between hypnosis and guided imagery. At the end of the day, it's all kind of about semantics. So if you're doing the right thing, I don't really care what you call it, you know, but just for the semantic and then distinction purpose, I want to talk about what hypnosis is and what guided imagery is, okay? So with the hypnosis, your child is the one that's painting the picture, as opposed to guided imagery would be, I am the one who is painting the picture for your child. So let me give an example of, let's say, slow breathing. With the guided imagery, I would say something like, instead of inhaling the air, I would say something like, smell the flowers and blow out the candle, kind of thing. That would be the guided imagery. So I am the one who is coming up with what to inhale and then what to exhale. So the flower and then the candle These words came from me, not from your child, right? As opposed to hypnosis, I would say something like, won't that be amazing to enjoy the smell of your favorite food or scent, or whatever it is, and letting out what doesn't serve you anymore. So here, I'm not specifying what kind of food or smell that they want to smell, because what the heck? Some kids might be allergic to some particular type of flower. So instead of feeling energetic or calming by me telling your child, smell the flowers, they might have some weird reactions. Like, ew, I don't like this flower, that kind of thing, right? So hypnosis is really about using your child's experience and preferences. So I would intentionally keep it vague, but having a little bit of positive suggestions so that they can have their own creation and their own imagination. Like, smell your favorite food or scent, whatever it is. So I'm not saying exactly what it is. I am letting the child having the power to decide what it is that works for them, right? And the same thing with the letting out. Letting out what does not serve you anymore is so much more giving the freedom for the child to think of whatever that doesn't serve them anymore, to just let it out instead of just imagining what I am dictating, like blowing out a candle, for example. So how is hypnosis related to FND? Well, it has more to do with the neuroscience. And remember, I am all about neuroscience geeking out, so bear with me, but it's really important. So in neuroscience, there is this thing called perceptual inference. And basically, inference is a process of making sense or developing this belief system or explanation about cause and effect, right? Based on usually experience. When we talk about perceptual inference, we're talking about the experiences within and outside of the body in particular. So the thing with teens with FND tend to develop this little bit twisted perceptual inference about their sensory motor, so sensor system, and then the motor system and emotionally charged phenomenon. So some reality for teens may or may not be the same as our reality. That is not because they're making things up, but because their perceptual inference is developing and twisting a little bit differently than what we would be developing. And so how is hypnosis related? Well, remember, hypnosis is all about positive suggestions based on your child's experience and preferences, right? So the hypnosis is really the way to undo this twisted development and then rebuilding the proper development so then their sensory motor and emotionally charged experiences would be quote unquote correct, just like how we would be experiencing. So moving on to what to do and what not to do with hypnosis. Okay, so I'm going to start with what not to do, which is all about negative suggestions. And here are some examples of negative suggestions. Don't be afraid. It's nothing dangerous. Don't think about it. Don't cry. Don't be sad. All of these things are what is called negative suggestions that actually would make your child think more about being afraid, being dangerous, thinking about it, crying and sad, all the while consciously they're thinking, oh, I shouldn't do these things because they are bad, right? So those are all negative suggestions. Another example would be, there's no explanation for your child's conditions. It must be all in your head. Some doctors might say that, and that is also negative suggestion, which is don't do it, okay? What not to do. How about this? It's permanent, so you just have to learn to live with it. Kind of like giving this like a live sentence and doom gloom, and that is also part of negative suggestions. So definitely don't do that, all right? And how about sometimes using distraction? But when I say distraction, I'm talking specifically about be on the computer screen mindlessly, interrupting your child, being late to the scheduled appointment. That is also a part of the distraction. Speaking in a rushed manner with frustration, it's not so much of the what to say, but how you would say it. So like tone of the voice and then how you communicate with your child, that could be part of the distraction, which is also considered part of the negative suggestions. And so why these things are not good and not to do? Because you are basically suggesting and then planting the seed to set up these negative expectations for the future. Remember, perceptual inference is all about developing the explanation and belief system. So here we are. You are basically, or providers are inadvertently helping your child to develop these negative expectations about their future. And no one feels good about it, and it definitely does not help with the resolution of FND. It's quite the opposite. This is definitely one of the perpetuating factors of how this fire of FND keep alive. That is because the perpetuating factor is there, aka the negative suggestions in this scenario. So instead, what to do, right? I want to also talk about practical solutions of what to do, and this is all in the realm of positive suggestions. You can be calm and confident. We will do this together. We've got this. So this is giving the confidence and the positive expectations. And therefore, this is part of the positive suggestions. And how about this? Many teens experience what you're experiencing. This is something a doctor can say. The good news is that with the right and proper treatment, everyone gets better. And it is true, but when you say it with confidence and calming manner, then your child will start to believe and think that way. Okay? How about this one? We will find the best option to help you. We've got this. Again, that's something that parents can say. And so how and why these positive suggestions work as opposed to negative suggestions? Because it gives a sense of understanding and validation to set up a positive expectations for the future. Now, I just want to clarify, it is not about just being positive no matter what, because that would be kind of weird. It is about helping your child develop positive expectations, aka their perceptual inference. And so parents, what can you do specifically on top of what to do and what not to do? Well, number one, the most important thing is with teen FND, because it's a long marathon recovery process, your self-care as a parent comes very, very important. And this is something that I talk about all the time. You've got to remain calm and collected, period. You've got to continue to recharge yourself, period. Because you cannot run empty, and you're the leader for your child, and therefore you need to demonstrate and be the role model for your child by appearing calm and collected. In order for you to do that, you've got to do the self-care. Now, you can also practice positive suggestions and expectations for yourself at being a role model. Because if you are negative and skeptical, then what happens is you're teaching your child a lesson to follow exactly what you're doing. It sounds sort of creepy, but that's true, because kids are, whether they like it or not, they're the top level observers. So they are watching what we as parents do. Therefore, if we demonstrate this kind of positive suggestions and expectations, then that's what they're going to be learning as well. And related to that, you have to do the right thing with the right mindset. So you are demonstrating, yes, I am here to help you, but if you're doing with the right mindset, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, this is doom, gloom, and all of that, aka the negative suggestions, then you're kind of sending the mixed messages. So the kids will get confused. And guess what? If they are presented both positive and negative at the same time, what do you think they're going to focus more? Negative. Negative suggestions are very powerful. And then our brain is wired that way because we are meant to survive. Therefore, our brain definitely focuses more on the negative information and negative suggestions. So this is something that you and your child need to do sort of manually in the beginning to switch from negative suggestions and expectations to the positive suggestions and positive expectations. But when you do this long enough, with the practice and learning, then it becomes more of an autopilot. And so a little bit more practical things that you can do as a parent, I'm going to give you a few more examples. You can definitely incorporate positive suggestions with curiosity instead of telling them what to do, okay? So something like this, wow, how did you do that? In hypnosis, the asking the question how is really powerful, because then you're not asking yes no questions, and it actually helps your child to think more about how did I do it, And then you can also say something like, on top of how did you do that? Even if you don't know exactly, I have a feeling that part of you knew what to do. Let's see if we can catch how you help yourself next time. So this is more like you and I doing this together. And you can also say, I trust you. You've got this. Even though you don't know exactly how right now, I trust you. You've got this. The next example is if you're in a treatment already, then you can say something like, I trust Dr. XYZ, the doctor's name, so you will get better and better even though the recovery can be up and down. That is so true. Recovery is never this linear, straightforward path. It's actually kind of up and down, but then over time it gets better. All right. So related to that, slowly but surely, you will build up your strength. You can say that. Then you can do more and more of things you like doing, like going to school and spending time with your friends. Once again, I'm going to repeat. I trust Dr. So-and-so, so you will get better and better, even though the recovery can be up and down. Slowly but surely, you will build up your strength. Then you can do more and more things like going to school and spending time with your friends. I'm going to be one more. I see that you're having a tough time with symptoms because that can happen too. Remember, up and down, right? And I trust that you have the control over your brain and body with ongoing practice so that you will recover from FND. I'm going to repeat. I see that you're having a tough time with symptoms, and I trust that you have the control over your brain and body with ongoing practice so that you will recover from FND. Now, this is just scratching the surface in terms of hypnosis. However, you're not expected as a parent to be hypnosis expert, right? But this is just suggestions of hypnosis techniques that you can use with yourself and then with your child. I strongly recommend that you also work with an FND specialist and someone who is also specialized in hypnosis, language, and techniques and strategies. Now, in terms of how you as a parent can help your teens with FND, I do have a PDF, bunch of handouts that is completely free. And I also have a free webinar training for parents of teens who are struggling with FND on my website. All of the links are down below, and so feel free to share, check it out, and help yourself with it. It's completely free. If you can share this video with your family and other loved ones, or anyone that you know who might be struggling with FND, that would be great. And I want to know, what kind of hypnosis language do you feel helpful? And have you also worked with hypnosis specialists? Leave the comments below because I want to engage with you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.